Hello, children. Good morning to everyone. Come back to the new learning. Today, you are going to learn about the sixth chapter Rise of Jainism and Buddhism.
And I'm sure that you are all aware of these religions, right? Jainism and Buddhism. So, in this chapter, we will be seeing about the background of the rise of Jainism and Buddhism. What is Jainism and what is Buddhism? Then the principles, what they have been following in these religion, and how the spread made in India and all over the world. Okay, so let us move on in detail about these. India is a land of many cultures and religions, as you all know about that, right? So this diverse culture is nourished by various religions. Diverse means nothing but the different culture. We have different culture, right? Followed by different various religions. Of these, the Jainism and Buddhism are the two important religions. They emerged during 6th century BCE. BCE is nothing but before the Common Era. Before it was like BC, right? Before Christ. Now they have changed it as BCE. Okay. In the mid region of river Ganga plains. So where they have been originated near the river Ganga plains. Okay. So Buddha and Mahavira preached peace, non-violence, tolerance and human values, which are the essence of plural cultures. Tolerance is nothing but the patience, how you should be patient while behaving with the humans. Okay, and they even taught us how to be peace and how the human values are there in our culture. Okay, so essence over here means that the nature which is the main soul, which is the core, okay, of the culture. So the reasons for the emergence of these religions were in contemporary social and political systems. So they were mainly dependent upon the present days system, present day social and political system. Over here contemporary means present day, that is the modern, okay, the living. So the reasons behind the rise of the Jainism and the Buddhism. By the time of 6th BCE, Indian society was divided on the basis of varnas, as we have already seen in the earlier lesson. What is meaning of varnas? Varnas is nothing but the class, caste class they have, right? So all the four varnas had emerged clearly. So I think so you have been remembered what are the four classes we were seen in our previous lesson. So if you have in your mind, just recollect it. Okay, in the first two varnas, Brahmin and Shastriya were there, and below them were Vaishya and Sudra. Now you got it right. Brahmins were the priest conducting yagna, that is the pujas they will do, right? And were the heads of all the ceremonies of religious rituals. So they had the rights to receive gifts and payments. So these are all the things which we have been seen in the earlier lesson itself. They had held control over the Shastriyas and were performing the role of guiding the kings. Okay, so they were given the suggestions to the kings. Shastriyas were the ruling class and were in the second place in the hierarchy. As we have already seen that there are four classes in that. First one is Brahmins, second one is Shastriyas, the third one is Vaishyas, and fourth one is the Sudras. Okay, so they were sustaining by taxing the farmers, who Shastriyas, though the Vaishyas, who were engaged in animal husbandry and business, were also called twice born. Dvija means nothing but twice born, they will say. Once they will have been born, and another time they will be doing the ritual things. After doing the ritual things, they have been given a newborn. So it's mentioned as twice born. Okay. So still certain prohibitions were on them. To whom? Vaishyas. The Sudras were considered as the labor class and were there only as the household laborers and the skilled workers. all the status and the facilities of the society were reserved for the upper varnas only. So as we already seen that only the upper varna people were given the higher priority. Women along with Sudras were considered as profane. Profane is nothing but non-religious persons. Women were also equal treated as Sudras. This Varna-based society had created tensions and complaints among the communities. Okay, so during this period, the teaching of Gautama Buddha and Mahavira appeared and new hopes for them. So at this time only, Mahavira and Buddha's teaching were a new rise for the people. So in the most of the ancient times, the contemporary agricultural practices and the rise in the food production play a major role in profound changes to occur in the political and the religious systems. The same are the reasons for the rise of Jainism and Buddhism. So by that time, the east of present Uttar Pradesh region, north and south of present Bihar were witnessing the emergence of new economic structures based on new agriculture. So these were the places at those times were given the emergence, that is of the new economic structure in the agriculture part. Okay, so by 5 BCE, iron implements came into use. So the usage of iron came into existence during the 5th BCE. With the iron blades in them, plows become more effective and were driven by the oxen. Oxen is nothing but the bullocks. So they were used for plowing. Okay, so in order to improve the food production, the use of oxen were inevitable. The oxen were sacrificed during religious rituals which brought down their number. So even the oxen were killed because of the religious rituals. Okay, so because of that their number have been decreased. So in this background, since both Jainism and Buddhism rejected animal sacrifice and advocated non-violence, a new hope became visible to people. So but see, in Jainism and Buddhism, they were completely opposed to the animal sacrifice. Okay, so this became a main reason for people to follow this religion. As a result of these things, people got attracted to them. So this was one of the major things which attracted the people of those time. During this period, cities grew. Kausambi, Kushinagar, Varanasi, Vaishali, Rajagruha, Chiranda cities in Bihar came into prominence. Artisans and the business people came and settled in these cities. So the famous artisans, and that is artists and the business people, came and settled in the cities. Coins were used as a means of exchange for the first time. The Vaishyas, who were placed in the third place in the Varna system, commanded no respect from the society. So in order escape from the limitation enforced by the Vedic religion on their social status, the business class supported the Jainism and Buddhism, which rejected Varna system. See, as the Vaisya people were not treated properly according to the hierarchy level, right? So they were very much opposed to the Varna system. So they were implemented, or they supported the Jainism and the Buddhism. Okay, so the major changes that took place in the political system of the contemporary society also contributed to the rise of new religions. Okay, so this made a few more changes in the political system. The Janapadas and Mahajanapadas in the river Ganga plains were getting transformed into kingships. Okay, kingship is nothing but the state of being a king. Okay, so it has been changed now. The new kings from these Janapada communities were looking for a way out to break the hegemony of the Vedic religion. Hegemony means nothing but the rule or the leadership. Okay, so they break the rule of that hegemony, okay, of the Vedic religion. So they accepted the philosophy of Buddha and Mahavira, who preached the futility of war and supported non-violence. So the futility means the uselessness of war. Okay, so as they follow non-violence, right? So they thought that the war is to be a useless thing. So the religions of Buddha and Mahavira identified the desire as a main reason for all the human hardships. Okay, so they found out the what the people needed, what the people wanted. Okay, hardship is nothing but the need of the human. Okay, so they find out what the peoples need, so they gave a call to overcome them. So they supported the simple living without accumulation too much wealth. So they their only main intention was to be the satisfaction of the human beings. They rejected luxurious life and advocated peaceful and moral family life. So they rejected all the luxurious life. Okay. So instead of Sanskrit, they preached the people in their own language, Pali and Prakrit. So these were the two main languages which have been followed by Mahavira and the Buddha. So they offered new path to the people by rejecting the Vedic religion. So they intended the people to follow in a new path, rejecting the Vedic religion. So now let us go in detail about the religion Jainism. Okay, Jainism is one of the very ancient religions. Traditionally, the Jains believed in the existence of 24 Tritankaras. Okay, Tritankaras. Rishabha was the first Tritankara. Okay, Tritankara is nothing but the persons in the Jainism, they follow the religion. Okay, so they used to say that, right? Like in Muslim they used to say prophet, right? So there are many prophets. So as similar to that, in Jainism there were 24 Tritankaras. So first Tritankara where Parsvanatha was the 23rd Tritankara. Parsvanatha was born on the son of King Ashwasena in the 8th century BCE. Okay, so who was the 23rd Tritankara? Parsvana was the 23rd Tritankara, and who and he was the son of King Ashwasena, and he belongs to the 8th century BCE. Okay, so it is believed that he renounced all luxury and indulgence and attained immortality. Renounced means rejected. Okay, then indulgence means satisfaction. All he rejected everything, the luxury, and he attained the immortality, that is the ability to live forever. Okay, so he renounced society and became a hermit. Hermit is nothing but a person who lives with away from the society. Okay, usually for the religious purpose. He preached 4 principles for a peaceful life. Okay, so what are the 4 principles by Parasvanatha? We will see now. First one is the non-violence. Second one is the truth. Third one is the asteya. Asteya is nothing but not to steal. Okay. Fourth one is aparigraha. Aparigraha means not to own any property. Okay. So the fifth principle of brahmacharya was taught by Vardhamana. Vardhamana. He was the 24th Tritankara. Okay, so we will see who is Vardhamana. Vardhamana is who we called as Mahavira. Okay, so his time of period is like 599 to 527 BCE. So Vardhamana was born in Kuntalagrama in Vaishali, one of the republics. So one of the place. So his father was Siddhartha, the king of Jnanatrika tribe. So this is one of the tribe. Okay, so his mother was Trishala Devi, so the princess of the Republic of Lichavi. So this is also a place. Okay, at the age of 30, Vardhamana set out in search of truth and renounced his family and house. So he rejected his family and house, he came out of his place at the age of 30. Okay, so he wandered for 12 years in this quest. So that means he wandered. He was not placed at a permanent place. He was wandering here and there in search of something. Quest is nothing but a long search. Okay, for something. So and he meditated. He punished his body by fasting.
Students, we stop the session here. The continuation of the life of Vardhamana Mahavira and the continuation of the lesson will be learned in the next session. Thank you. Have a beautiful